I'm not quite sure, and it wasn't my place to ask. When your living god gives you a task, you say, "Yes, my lord." The questions seem to involve the time before the tribunal, which I assume is why we must ask them of my long-dead ancestor. A few of my contemporaries can boast of a luminary such as Farina Andrano occupying a prime branch upon their family tree. Lady Farina studied at the feet of Sotha Sil and was counted among his companions before the tribunal rose to power. Who's Sotha Sil? It's like asking who are Vivek and Almalexia. They are the tribunal, the living gods of the Dunmer. Sotha Sil is the architect of time and the binder of oblivion. If you want to know more, we can talk after we've finished. Well, I can tell you why they weren't here the last time I paid my respects. Canon Valasar thinks they're some kind of Daedra, determined to keep us from fulfilling Lord Vivek's will. Until you showed up, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Before we go in there and face those monsters, I want you to know how much I appreciate your aid in this matter. Just don't lose the scroll that contains Lord Vivek's questions. Now come, let's call forth my ancestor. I'll open the tomb door. Follow me, but keep an eye out for those Daedra. Just attacked as soon as we entered the Hall of Remembrance. This used to be such a peaceful place. I came here as a young acolyte to meditate. We're nearly there. Then we can summon my ancestor. The summoning chamber. I'll call forth my ancestor, then you can ask Vivek's questions.
Hasn't my rest been disturbed enough by those filthy Daedra? Why do you summon me, descendant?
My Lord Vivek has inquiries that only you can answer, my lady. My companion will present them with your permission.
The warrior poet? Very well. Ask Vivek's questions. Ask the warrior poet's questions, Outlander. Lord Vivek always had a way with words. Tell him to rest assured. The heart remains safe. I wonder why that concerns him. Ask the remaining questions as my time here is short. An enemy of old, yes, but not the one that Vivek presumes. Sotha Sil imagined multiple scenarios and contemplated endless solutions. He even experimented with his divinity, drawing energy to study before returning it. Loss will come, he foresaw, but not until the collapse of the temple. Now...
I hope that's what Lord Vivek needed. Let's talk outside. Thank you for helping me complete my task. Now, I need to return to Vivek City. Have you been there? Oh, it's amazing. Ziggurats rising out of the water, the moonlit hanging in the sky above. You should meet me there so I can introduce you to Lord Vivek. Just between us, I understood neither the questions asked nor the answers received. Not that I expected you. Some things aren't meant for mortal minds. That's another reason for you to come to Vivek City, to help me explain what my ancestors said. Excellent. I just need to make a quick stop in Saint-Denis to check on my original traveling companions. When you get to Vivec City, head right to the palace and I'll meet you there. I know that Lord Vivec will want to reward you for assisting me. I'll be along shortly. When you get to Vivec City, head directly for Lord Vivec's palace. Once there, I'll make introductions and we can tell the warrior poet everything we've learned. Of course. As I said, the tribunal consists of our 3 living gods, Vivec, Almalexia, and Sothosil. They lead us in spiritual matters and rule over Dunmer society as god monarchs of the Dark Elves. I serve Vivec, but honor the entire tribunal. Unfortunately, no. The Dunmer houses bow to the tribunal, but the savage Ashlanders refuse to acknowledge their divinity. The heretics never allowed themselves to be assimilated into the great houses. Instead, they hold to primitive superstitions.
Heads. I'm rather busy right now.
This is the person who helped me at the tomb, my lord.
Lord Vivec, we don't need the help of this outlander.
Oh hush, Archcanon Tarvis. Outlanders have their usefulness, and this one intrigues me.
As you say. I'll be in my office if you need me.
Step forward, friend of Lavoul, and let us speak. Canon Levoul says you helped him in his mission. As I have written, the one who helps my ally becomes my friend. Despite the Archcanon's concerns, I greet you with sincerity and pose a simple question. Will you assist us further, Outlander? I have ordinators and armigers at my disposal. Vast armies of followers and dedicated priests. What I don't have, however, is a fresh perspective. Will you set aside your personal goals for a time and become the eyes and ears of a god? Good. I need assistance to investigate a strange phenomenon that the Ancestor confirmed may indeed be a problem. We'll start with a simple divination ritual. Archcanon Tarvis can tell you what we need to delve into this mystery. The Daedric Prince. I suppose the same events that concern me might interest Azura, though she could just as easily be the source of these troubles. Red Mountain, strange Daedra, and then there's... well, we'll talk more about that when you return. Levoul's ancestor assured me that a source of power remains safe. As for the rest, Let the guess ripen in the mind, and only speak when the fruit grows certain. I require more information on these matters, hence the need for the divination ritual. The situation that troubles me has taken a toll on my archcanon, but he's a faithful servant. Tarvis will do as I say, and I say we need your assistance. Find the archcanon in his office, and he'll tell you how to proceed.
Ah, Outlander. Lord Vivec trusts too much to put his faith in one such as you, but who am I to question my god? I suppose he sent you to me so I could put you to work? Did he say which task he wants us to accomplish first? Ah, yes. We do need to perform a ritual to reveal the nature of the phenomenon that vexes Lord Vivec. Now listen closely. I hate to repeat myself. Despite my objections, Vivec believes you were sent to help, so I'll do my best to assist you. Go to the ziggurat that's still under construction and tell the Overseer that Lord Vivec requires the Blessing Stone. Then bring it to me in the palace. You receive a simple errand in the service of Lord Vivec, and countless questions form unbidden in your mind. Very well. Go ahead. Ask your questions. It's not like I'm the busy archcanon of a living god or anything. Lord Vivec sees signs and portents everywhere. It's the poet at his core. I tend to be much more pragmatic. Sometimes a volcano is simply a volcano, and not a harbinger of doom. As for the Daedra, I have no idea. Perhaps the summoning got out of hand. Offend me? You give yourself too much credit. No, I feel the same about all Outlanders. This is tribunal business, best handled by tribunal resources. However, I also obey my Lord Vivec, so I will tolerate your involvement and do my best to aid you.
project has been nothing but one disaster after another. How am I expected to get this ziggurat built on time when things constantly go wrong? Don't mind me. I'm just having one of those days. Our blessing stone? Do you know what happens if we give up our blessing stone? Well, neither do I, but I'm sure it won't put us back on schedule or end our string of disasters. I'm not one to disagree with the Archcanon, but that's a terrible idea. Lord Vivec? Why didn't you say so? But I'll need your help before I can turn over the blessing stone. The passage that leads to the consecration chamber collapsed, trapping some of my workers. If you can clear the way, you can borrow the stone. I appreciate the help. Just remember that you're only borrowing the stone. It needs to be back in the consecration chamber before the next shift, or we'll never get this ziggurat constructed in time.
So much to do.
Thank you. I'll go tell the Overseer what you did for me.
I thought I was gonna die under there. Oh, thanks for saving me.
Praise Vivek!
The Outlander returns. I understand there was trouble at the construction site, but you were able to save a few of the workers. Lord Vivec always draws the straightest arrow from the quiver. Praise the tribunal. Did you breathe? Stand over there. In Canon Level's absence, you will form the third corner of our ritual triangle. When you're ready, place the blessing stone, and we'll begin the ritual. the words of the warrior poet and reveal the source of Lord Vivek's distress. Mage. A Daedric cultist? Something interfered with the ritual, my lord. But we may have learned something. Excuse me while I compare the results to our previous research.
Between the cryptic warnings of the ancestor spirit and the unexpected result of the divination ritual, I fear there may be more astir than I imagined. We solved the greatest mysteries by accident, I suspect. I should write that down. We learn from every action we take. Failure or success, each result teaches us something, at least in the larger sense. To be more specific, no, not as much as I hoped. Images that suggest avenues to investigate, riddles to solve. Let me tell you a secret, Outlander. It concerns a living god and energy that fades like daylight as dusk spreads across the land. Listen well, and speak not a word. My divine energy, it drains away. Whether from illness or foul malady, I know not. You must travel the land and seek answers on my behalf. But first, gratitude before service, as I have written. So thank you. The ritual confirmed my worst fears. Divine energy flows out of me for no reason that I can discern. I felt the power imbued within my blessing stone get wrenched away as soon as you added it to the ritual. I couldn't stop it. To quote my own words as the warrior poet, no lock exists that the determined thief cannot open. Follow the trail of my missing energy, and try to discover the identity of the enemy Lavul's ancestor warned us about. Something drains my energy. Find Archcanon Tarvis in his office, and ask if he gleaned anything useful from the ritual. If not, I know his earlier research indicated new avenues to investigate. Go where he tells you, and learn what you can. Yes. While Archcanon Tarvis has always been cautious about ideas and ideologies that didn't originate within the Tribunal. And recently, that prudence has grown 1,000-fold. He's a faithful servant, however, despite his narrow-mindedness. They always chide me about my flagrant displays of divinity. But so far, I am the only one of the living gods whose power is fading. Almalexia hoards her energy and has barricaded her temple against attack. As for Sophocil, my brother travels. We have not heard from him for quite some time, but I sense that he remains safe and in possession of his full power. Funny. You always wanted to discover the limits of our divinity. Perhaps I will solve that mystery for him. At first, I barely noticed the loss of energy. But as I continue to grow weaker, the more it feels like an attack against my person. Besides, the ancestor spirit confirmed that an ancient enemy was to blame. We just need to determine who before... Let us not dwell on disasters to come when we have problems enough to deal with in the here and now. Consult with Archcanon Tarvis and discover the source of this attack. Then we can put an end to it and not worry about what might have been.
I performed that ritual countless times, and it never exploded in my face before. If I discover that you sabotaged the divination... No. I shouldn't take my failure out on you. It's not your fault that things are... difficult. How do you know about... Lord Vivek told you? Of course he did. It's his prerogative, I suppose. You must swear to keep this secret, though. There would be panic in the streets if the people believed one of the tribunal was incapacitated. It's true. I'm much better at scholarly pursuits than field work. And the ritual wasn't a total failure. It confirmed 3 locations from my earlier studies. Balmora, Aldrin, and Barrelzar's Tower. I need you to investigate each of these sites. Haven't you left yet? The sites at Balmora, Aldrin, and Barrelzar's Tower aren't going to investigate themselves. I researched what I could using the resources available here in Vivek City. To learn more, I need an agent to personally assess each location. Lord Vivek thinks you're the best one for that job. I hope he's right. I believe the mage seen in the ritual is Barrelzar, who works out of an ancient Velothi tower. His experiments radiate energy similar to Vivek's affliction, but they're not a perfect match. Find out what he knows about the transfer of divine energy. Savage Ashlanders, like the one seen in the vision, use the area as a tribal meeting ground. These nomadic heretics deny the divinity of the tribunal and have no love for Vivek. But how they could be involved eludes me. See what you can uncover. I traced tendrils of Vivek's energy to these locations, and the ritual confirmed the connection before it went awry. Just don't discuss Lord Vivek's condition with anyone. We don't want to start a panic. If anything changes here, I'll contact you.
Another adventurer looking for work? Did you? Well, that's why it was posted. It's simple. Citizens tell us what they need, and we arrange for the job to be completed. You will be able to meet with the client before starting the task. They'll also have your reward, not us. Belarus Omeril and her brother Traylan will handle your assignments. Check in with them frequently to see if they have a job for you. They'll inform you what you need to accomplish and who made the request. Belarus' requests may appear straightforward, but many adventurers find them difficult to accomplish. The assortment of enemies she'll ask you to face are all powerful, and I would recommend gathering allies before heading out. Traylan handles requests which the temple has special interests in. His tasks require more subtlety, but they are by no means easy. Make sure to listen to his explanations carefully. It's also a good idea to speak to the clients beforehand. Belaru's requests may appear straightforward, but many adventurers find them difficult to accomplish. The assortment of enemies she'll ask you to face are all powerful, and I would recommend gathering... I would hope. You came to us, after all. Traylon and Belaru are just down the hall. They should already have assignments for you. Speak to either of them to get started.
Citizens hand in their request, I tell you what I know, and you take care of it. The person with the problem is usually more than willing to talk your ear off about it. The more people you can convince to help you with the job, the better. Well, here's a nasty one. Ever seen a hunger before? Looks like there's one causing trouble in Silipin Grange. Appears to be protecting a newly discovered ruin, and some researchers need help killing it. The notice sounds quite panicked, actually. Head to Silipin Grange, gather some relic pieces, and try to take care of the hunger that's protecting the area. Tivina Avani should be in the city with more information. Nervous little thing. She'll have your pay once you're done with the task.
Current events have left the temple in need of additional resources. The requests I handle are citizens whose interests best align with the goals of the temple. You'll work with these individuals to help better Vardenfell. Are you interested? Bandits are occupying a cave called Zain Sipalu. They're under the delusion that they have access to a monopoly of moon sugar grasses, a plant that isn't able to naturally grow here in Vardenfell. We'd like to keep them preoccupied. Misinformation. Take these 2 notes regarding Moonsugar's growth process. Leave one near their crop and one near their research. Deal with the bandits however you like. Evos is nearby if you need more information. He'll also have your reward.
You... I don't recognize you. You've made a terrible mistake in coming here. Do you feel it yet? The cold rush through your veins, the stiffness in your joints. Only a matter of time now. Only a matter of time. You really haven't figured it out. You're denser than those stone fiends. Master Rethan brought me on to study a Daedric text, a formula for turning living flesh into a substance akin to ebony. Not a perfect match, but close enough. Something like that. But what does it matter? I'll be frozen solid soon, black as midnight. A commodity, nothing more. Ironic. You mean to rob me, I suppose. The scroll's just there. Have a care with it. Wealth always comes at a price. None. Well, none that I've discovered anyway. I speak modestly when I say that if there was a cure, I would have found it already. I guess I could squander my remaining hours searching for a remedy, but I'm an alchemist, a daedrologist. We don't trouble ourselves with things like hope. I leave that nonsense to priests and children, the mentally ill. Why do you even care? Oh, fine. I altered the formula, turning the liquid decoction into a vapor. It proved to be very effective. Unfortunately, it was nearly impossible to contain. Hence, this. What? Afflicting all these miners? Oh, spare me your crude moral outrage. They were wastrels, laborers that were too ignorant or too lazy to find work anywhere else. This is as meaningful a contribution as they were likely to make. None. I'd invite you to kill me, but given that I'll be dead soon anyway, it's hardly worth the effort.
Ah, I'm glad to see you made it back in one piece. Ah, I'm glad to see you made it back in one piece. So, what have you learned? Anything? What? Well, that sounds ghastly. To think that my own brother would be capable of such a thing. We must move quickly. Did you find any evidence? I'll need something concrete if I'm to convince the Hlalu trade barons to intercede. Well done. I have a final task for you, if you're willing. I must take this to the trade baron, Councillor Riveth. He's staying at the Balmora Inn. Alas, Benna has many contacts in town. If he hears that I'm meeting Riveth, he may try to flee. Travel to the Rethan Manor House and detain Benna. Once I've explained matters to Riveth, he'll send Hlalu constables to collect my brother. After this, I'll ask nothing more of you. You have my word. That the men I worked tirelessly to hire were being used as fodder for some vile experiment? Absolutely not. It's appalling. Why would I have sent you to discover what was going on if I already knew? Yes, I hired him at my brother's insistence. Something about valuable books and scrolls found in the shrine. We planned to sell them off once Gavros translated them. That's what I thought, anyway. Wait. Gavros is still alive? I see. That is unfortunate. But I suppose that's the risk you take when you start brewing foul decoctions and poisoning innocent miners. Not long. He tends to be brusque. Once I've explained the situation, he'll waste no time bringing Benna in for questioning. It will be brief, I assure you. They will punish him severely. He'll definitely lose his share of the estate and the ebony mine. He may even lose his life. In either case, I'll have to bear the weight of our family assets alone.
The Muth-Nam monks use an ancient Daedric artifact to heal. How dare the very Ansu interfere with their holy work?
Stop acting like a flathead.
Keep your eyes on the skies. If there is an ash overhead, there's one of those silk striders passing by. What can I get you?
House Telvanni still keep slaves?
How else do those lazy mages accomplish anything?
But what about the Pact?
House Telvanni stayed out of the Pact. The wizards have no interest in mainland wars.
I mean, why doesn't the Pact put a stop to it?
Would you like to tell the all-powerful mages to stop playing with their toys?
Best price is here.
Drink.
I love seeing new faces. For a while, it was just the same old miners and the occasional traveling merchant. Thought Caroline might have to shut this place down. Look at me talking your ears off. What can I get you? At first, I assumed it was the usual house squabbles. Redoran and Hlalu arguments can get pretty heated. Then I thought maybe the Ashlanders were scaring people off. But after that proclamation... No, I'd rather not talk about that with a stranger. I'm sure you do, but I have to live here, you know? Look, there's nothing I can tell you. If the houses ever found out I told an outlander about our troubles, maybe one of the miners will be more willing to talk to you. I like the color of your gold, Outlander. Just between us, I heard the House Guard shut down the Shulk ore mine. Something to do with violent cultists who attacked the miners and took over the place. Even got the crew chief, or so I heard.
Finest quality merchandise.
Stupid dog.
What happened? Let me see.
I just tried to pet it. Damn dog bit me.
Leave it alone. There's something strange about that dog.
You shouldn't be here. Didn't you read the House Redoran proclamation? I wouldn't be here myself, but some of my miners are still in there. Our mine was invaded by violent cultists. They showed up and just took the place over. My people are trapped. I'm no expert, but it looked like the cultists were preparing to conduct a ritual before the Ashlander interrupted them. Probably because I heard one of them say, "With this ritual we'll call forth a mystical weapon and attain the power of a god," or something along those lines. Look, I was just trying to get me and my miners out of there when the Ashlander showed up. Well, I never actually saw an Ashlander, but I heard a cultist yell, "Ashlander thief! That's our mystical weapon!" That's not an exact quote, but you get the idea. I don't know what happened after that. I was kind of busy trying not to die. Really? That's awfully brave of you. If you see any of my miners, tell them to get their arses out here. I'll wait as long as I can. Or until I hear screaming. Then I'll go to Balmora and try to find some help. Good luck in there.
You don't look like one of those crazy cultists, and you certainly aren't one of our miners. So by Vivek's holy nose hairs, who in oblivion are you? Really? Then forget I said anything about His Holiness' nasal preening. They're some sort of Daedric cultists. They've been performing rituals, calling forth divine power, some such nonsense. At least they were, before the Ashlanders showed up. The savages barged into the deep chambers, seemed to know about the hidden passage and everything, stole the relic the cultists were praying over, and ran for the hills. As a matter of fact, that's where I'm going, as soon as it's safe to leave.
slaughter every Ashlander tribe.